Lifeline is one of those games I would always hear a lot about back in the day in various gaming circles. I never actually played it when it released, with the onslaught of bangers coming out and genre-defining all-time classics. Lifeline, or as it's known in Japan, Operator's Side, is a voice-activated survival horror video game. Yes, a game that you completely control with your voice. An incredibly ambitious idea for a PS2 game and a PS2 microphone. Needless to say, I wasn't losing my mind with excitement for Lifeline back in the day. That, and the only other thing I'd ever hear about it, was how bad its voice recognition technology actually was, which even back then seemed obvious. Speaking to a video game and having it respond naturally and/or properly is even a magical idea for technology nowadays. As the years passed, I'd always see Lifeline on the shelves at retro game stores, and every time I'd always see that cute blonde on the cover, I'd always think to myself, I love blonde women. I've played every blonde girl game. Why haven't I played this one? Then the memories would come flooding in.
Hey, bro! Fred, yeah, your aim is
Stop.
like a dog.
Middle dog?
Right.
Good God. I'll be honest with you. Back in the day, I did see the infamous X-Play review where Adam Sessler couldn't get the game to work. Remember when I made the most popular episode of X-Play, and then the network died? Again. Remember that? Obviously, that classic clip heavily colored my opinion on the game back in the day, so I nary gave it a second glance. Hey, but I am the Sphere Hunter, the survival horror superfan that still hasn't made a single Silent Hill video in her 8-year-long career on YouTube. But look, don't think about that. I've got this game now, okay? And I might have finished it. We'll see. And the things I have to say in this video may or may not align with everything you've ever heard about it, but maybe they won't. Hey, maybe I like it. By the way, I literally could not find any interesting documented development history about Lifeline. All that's out there is just information that you can learn just by playing the game, and that's what I did. So the only real info is, developer names and that it was developed by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Hey, that's kind of cool, right? Sony made this game. Outside of a few videos and streams from fellow creators, there isn't really a public story about Lifeline out there, and that kind of sucks. Getting into dev history is a pretty big part of my videos, but regardless, we're still gonna have a lot of fun today, so let's not waste any more time. Let me tell you all about my journeys through Lifeline.
Hey, can you,
Hi.
walk over to the computer?
Hey, what was it you wanted me to do again?
I said walk to computer.
Sorry?
Walk to computer.
Can't hear you. This?
No, you little scoundrel. The computer.
I see. Over here. What do you want from me?
Check computer.
The desk. Got it. Has tech support ever treated you like this after having your precious data stolen by a data broker? Well, no longer will you have to deal with Lifeline operators. Thanks to Incogni. Cybersecurity is everything nowadays. Did you know that hundreds of companies and malicious actors are collecting your personal data right now without you even knowing about it? Your legal name, phone number, and quite possibly home address is all just floating around on the internet waiting for some pesky data broker to come snatch it up. Ever get a bunch of spam phone calls? Data broker. Ever get a bunch of junk emails? Data broker. Never fear, however, because there is a way to combat all of these horrible things, thanks to Incogni's lightning-fast data removal service. When I first signed up to Incogni, I was genuinely shocked with how many results were found containing my personal information. I was also shocked with how fast Incogni took it down. Over the years, as an online personality, I've had tons of moments where things have gotten a little scary because some person on the internet that I've never met in my life has been able to collect a bunch of personal information about me and try using it against me in some kind of way. Having Incogni legitimately remove the possibility of something like that happening again to me is the type of peace of mind worth having in your life. Trust me. So if having your personal information out of the hands of people who should never have had it in the first place sounds good to you, then go to incogni.com/spherehunter to get an exclusive code of 60% off. That's incogni.com/spherehunter to get 60% off your Incogni subscription. Starting up Lifeline, you play through a short tutorial where you have to read specific words. These are essentially your key actions. You should have seen how hyped I was scoring every word perfectly on this test. I was like, oh snap, I guess it turns out I'm the one. I am the chosen Lifeline player. My video will change the culture around this game. I'm a voice actor. Then our leading lady, Rio here, couldn't understand one word I tried to say for no joke, 3 minutes straight.
Susan.
Yeah, that's my name.
No, that's not it. That wasn't her name. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. She didn't want to drink. She was very... Morgan.
Naomi.
No, wrong name. She was really pretty. Come on, what's the name of that girl?
Naomi.
Taylor. Wrong. Your girlfriend's name. It's,
Naomi. Oh my god. Naomi.
Morgan. No, that's not it. It was 3 syllables. Come on,
Naomi.
what's the name of that... Anne. No, that's not it. It was 3 syllables.
Naomi.
Come on, what's the... Helen. No, wrong
oh my
name.
fucking god.
It was
bro.
3 syllables.
Yeah, I'll just say it right now. This game sucks. But let's talk about why that is. So the establishing events and opening cutscenes are pretty cool. Lifeline takes place in the year 2029 on an outer space station hotel cruise liner. It's a pretty awesome environment, admittedly. Despite her physical appearance on the game's box art, we actually don't play directly as this main character, Rio. We really play as an unnamed man in a security office, watching the station's monitors. We are the operator to Rio. That's why the game is called Operator Side in Japan. After some kind of alien invasion ravages the station, we're left hurt, looking for our beloved girlfriend and needing to guide Rio to safety. The stakes, they're high. Man, I haven't said that in years. The gameplay for Lifeline consists of exploring your surroundings, doing combat encounters, and sometimes a quick puzzle to fail over and over while figuring out if you're supposed to press a button or scream random words at your TV. It might still be hard to believe me when I say this, but 99% of this game requires you to speak into a microphone. You have to hold down the circle button to begin the command process, and then release the button when you've said what you need to. It's difficult figuring out when you're supposed to release this button for voice commands to register properly. It seems almost like it's on a situational basis and different for every single command in the game. A very small percentage of one-off moments need you pressing the square button to open doors for Our Lady here, but that's it. And yes, every single time I had to press a button to do something, I just couldn't help but think, why not let me play this like a video game? It'd probably be really fun. The biggest issue I have and quickly discovered was how you speak to Rio, or how the title wants you to speak to her. Early on, the game tells you if you can't figure out what an environmental object is, or if Rio's having a hard time understanding you, you can describe the object instead of naming it specifically. For example, if there's a cigar box on a table, you can theoretically say something like, check box. That should resolve the issue, right? Well, saying things like that literally never worked for me at any point in this game. Even basic identifiable objects like bottles wouldn't register in this method. Rio not understanding got so bad within the first few rooms that I was stuck watching her walk in circles, saying the same things over and over again. I ended up looking for a guide online and found a great one. This guide detailed every single interaction and secret you could find throughout the game. The issue with that is I had zero fun playing in this way. I felt like I was building IKEA furniture or something. Oh, I just made it to a new room. Gotta check out the instruction manual to craft the scene in front of me. Even with following the guide to a T, Rio would still not understand me most of the time and just walk over to something else, making me flip the fuck out. Check cabinet.
It's already open.
Open cabinet.
It's already open.
The puzzles are also nightmarishly frustrating too. One involves saying wedding vows by yourself and then saying them together with Our Lady here, and I could not figure out how to do the second part for an entire day.
It's talking about you.
I know it's talking about me. I want to monopolize.
Authentication successful. You may both enter.
Here we go again.
Ready?
Even the very shadow that you cast in sunlight, I want to monopolize.
Authentication unsuccessful. Will the groom please face the bride?
You have to understand me, I came back to this game 1 full day later. When I finally figured out how to do this was when I decided not to follow the rhythm of Rio's voice, which you'd think is what you'd have to do, right? It turns out me just blitzing through the line on my own is what worked. All right, here we go again. 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 I want to monopolize on this fucking game, but I'm gonna fucking go crazy and kill myself. I want to monopolize. No pause this time. No pause. I'm gonna read the whole line. No pause. No pause. Even the very shadow that you cast in sunlight, I want to monopolize.
Authentication successful.
No pause! No pause! No pause! We did it! Yes!
We finally made it in here.
It's silly thinking back to that viral clip of the guy doing a racist Japanese accent to get the game to work, because that shit was just blind luck. Lifeline barely works, and that's what's so annoying about it. I bet there probably is a potentially interesting video game buried under this horribly implemented tech. I couldn't really tell you if that's the case though, because I had to quit playing. It was pissing me off that bad. I think what makes Rio's frustration in not understanding me is that her performance is actually pretty great. The voice acting gets across what she's going through, so when she can't understand you, the game will oftentimes, in a narrative context, translate that to her as thinking you are messing up intentionally. Like you're trying to troll her or something. That's what created so much anger in me while trying to get through this fucked title. Even when the game does work, mostly in the combat encounters, it's not very fun just listing off monster body parts for our girl to shoot at. Imagine just saying mouth, mouth, mouth 3 times in a row like that to make the character focus her fire on the enemy's weak point. Does that sound fun to you? Because it isn't, and won't ever be. Couple that with managing Rio's current ammo count and health status, and you've got yourself a recipe for disaster. I've tried a few microphones and they all produced the same results. Maybe if I used the patented Lifeline headset that came with this game back in the day, that helped the situation, but based on my own horrible experience, I probably would have ended up like Sessler here.
Are you talking about this?
Yes. Yes, strong.
So I should run.
No,
okay?
don't run. Don't run, don't run. Stop, 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 stop. No, don't run.
I know people speedrun this game, but even then I've seen playthroughs where Rio still doesn't understand certain commands from these seasoned players. Seasoned Lifeline players is a pretty unhinged thing of me to say. I was randomly watching a Did You Know Gaming episode on one of my favorite video games of all time, Metal Gear Solid 2. And in that video, apparently Hideo Kojima had caught wind of Sony's video game voice technology and even considered implementing a feature similar to that of Lifeline's bullshit in MGS2 at one point. Boy, am I glad we dodged that bullet. Can you imagine screaming, "Swim, Raiden, swim!" And he's just flopping around in circles yelling back at you, "What do you want from me?" I've been so negative about this title's gameplay, but there is something I love about Lifeline, and that's its early 2000s PS2 aesthetic. A friend of mine, the Gaming Brit Show, made a really cool video on Tekken 4's atmosphere a few years ago. In that video, TGB mentions how games from this generation all had a similarly cold and computerized visual and audio presentation. He coined the term digital apocalypse. To me, this branding perfectly fits this PS2 early 2000s aesthetic, and 100% originates from the Gaming Brits video. Well, I guess I'm not the only one that thought it was cool, because that video was so powerful that it made people steal said idea for Digital Apocalypse over and over again. What does that have to do with my video on Lifeline? Well, not a whole lot, but I think rampant biting sucks, and that you should do a better job at covering your stupid tracks, you unoriginal pricks. Credit my friend, like I am right now. Anyway, Lifeline is drenched in the Digital Apocalypse feel. I like just watching Rio exist in this title's environments. The notable low hum of the space station can be heard everywhere, like the Starship Enterprise. Each futuristic hotel room is packed with PS2 detail and varied, making each room feel lived in by someone that once stayed there. It's really funny in recent years hearing people use the PS2 as an insult for modern games having lower or just bad visual quality. I feel like people who say that have either never played a PS2 game or don't remember what they looked like. Lifeline looks fantastic and actually runs at 60 FPS for the whole game. It's a beautiful looking game with fantastic art direction. That much is undeniable. And whenever there's music, it's pretty fun too. It's like some early electronic, funky fighting game music. I just wish its core gameplay concept was possible on PS2. Like, if there's something you could dwog on the PS2 for, it's believing that a game from 2003 could operate solely on voice commands. Like, what the fuck? Since I didn't actually finish the game, I felt bad because I've never made a video about a game I didn't see the credits to, you know? So I decided to do the next best thing, watch a playthrough instead. I basically got the same experience, just a little less frustrating. That's when it hit me. In Lifeline, you're kinda just watching the game unfold before your eyes. Using your voice to quote-unquote control the game is a bit of an illusion. The illusion of choice. Lifeline as an experience works best if you just watch it. Trust me. Well, how did I feel after watching it? To be honest, I thought the story was pretty cute. It's a fun, of-its-time PS2 horror adventure. Like I mentioned, Rio is the standout character, who actually has a pretty good and consistent vocal performance all around. In the beginning, she's confused as you try ever so desperately to work with her, learning the ins and outs of this space station hotel. She gets confident as she kills more and more monsters, but isn't too headstrong to rush straight into danger. Early on, she really sounds panicked in combat, and it feels genuine. There are moments where Rio actually suggests taking careful preparation to fighting certain bosses, or if she's scared, she'll let you know and needs some reassurance. When it works, you can kind of feel a bond growing between yourself and our main girl here. A super cute moment that happens fairly early in the story is, as a working member of this hotel, Rio knows all of the little rumors and games the staffers play on each other. One area of the hotel she's deathly afraid of is this particular haunted bathroom. Exploring this room, you have to constantly let her know that everything will be okay and that ghosts don't exist. I love when video game characters have irrational fears like this. Like when they fight tons of monsters or survive insane odds just to be like, ghosts though. Rio eventually becomes so confident and cool that after saving a group of survivors, she gets her own type of superhero transformation with a costume change and everything.
The suit? May I borrow this?
That's an armored suit for combat use.
I want to get changed out of these clothes. They're all sticky with sweat and slime. So, okay? I can wear this, right?
Fine, go ahead.
The game's locations get pretty interesting by the end with a bunch of zero-G stuff and Resident Evil-style labs. The story goes a little insane too. Like most games of this era, the twist is wild, although a little predictable. I won't spoil what happens because, like I said earlier, Lifeline is basically a movie. But what I will say is the rest of the cast aren't as interesting or as well performed as our lead here. Everyone is pretty one-note and poorly written, but they can still come off very funny at times, adding to the story's enjoyability.
But
Because of that monster spider. You can't make it to the receiving port?
Bingo. It's a nasty obstacle. So, how about it? Wanna play dead with me?
I feel like I've barely talked about this game despite knowing an unhealthy amount of info about it. I think I feel that way because there aren't many systems to even talk about. Lifeline is an interactive movie. I've had this game for years, and it sucks that when I finally decided to play it, my views pretty much aligned with the general consensus. I was really hoping to break through that barrier of negativity, and while I tried, I gotta say, Lifeline is a game I'll never play again. I don't even think I can recommend it either, sadly. You're not really missing much here. That being said, if you are interested in trying it out, you can only play it on PS2 or emulate it. Lifeline is a concept that I'd like to see redone with all of our modern technology. Voice tech has advanced so much since 2003, and I think we might actually be at a point in our technological history where you can actually make a video game where you can talk to a video game character. The idea of that still sounds so freaking cool to me. I'm sure if Lifeline was made today, it'd probably be made by a super evil mega corporation that would unknowingly record all of our voices to recycle into generative AI voice technology, to use in other voice-activated video games, of course, as an excuse to not pay voice actors. Anyway, that's the end of the video.